GC Rad 1 here, Yamaha Tdub Club, and yeah, this video is coming on quick because tomorrow the race starts. Technically tomorrow is January 2nd in the United States, but it's January 3rd on the other side of the planet, i.e. Saudi Arabia, where the Dakar is starting on January 3rd. But if you go on YouTube, start punching in Dakar 2021, you will start to see a lot of videos already in place. But why? We're Yamaha Tdub Club. Why Dakar? There's no Tdubs competing in the Dakar, so why? We are Yamaha enthusiasts. We rock the same brand. It's the same company. So even though we're Tdubbers, Yamaha of all creeds are our fellow brethren of the Tuning Fork label. And why do you have this crusty old 1978 Yamaha XT500 sitting all up in the video? Well, that's a real easy one, because this is as close as we can get to the bike that actually won the very first Dakar in 1979. Yes, Yamaha has had its fair share of winnings at Dakar. Yamaha 1 and 2, year 1, 1979. In 1979, 182 vehicles took off on the start of the inaugural rally in Paris, with 74 surviving the 6,200 mile trip to Senegalese capital of Dakar. Kyle Nevu holds the distinction of being the event's first winner, riding a Yamaha XT500 motorcycle. Second place was captured by Gilles Comte, also on a Yamaha XT500. The event rapidly grew in popularity, with 216 vehicles taking part in the 1980 and 291 vehicles taking off in 1981. There's quite a few participants in the Dakar. I want to say there's like around 450, 500 participants this year for 2021. How did Dakar Rally become like important for me? Or not really important, but just a fan favorite. I started off in rally. You've heard my boring old story, but I was in rally cars for a few years there. I grew up on motorcycles, didn't know about rally, got involved in rally racing in 4 wheels, and then as I was transitioning back to 2 wheels, I started looking around like I'm coming from this rally place, and I knew I wasn't an MX track guy. I knew I wasn't an FMF freestyle guy. I wasn't a desert racer. I was this kind of like adventure guy, and through the ADV Rider forum, I started to see a lot more discussion about Dakar, these long adventures, and you know, there's always going to be competition amongst your buddies. When you talk about adventure and competition, Dakar is the elite of the elite. For us in the US, you know, we think about the Baja 1000. In order to go compete at Dakar, they tell you have to do at least 2 Baja 1000s. Even though a Baja 1000, there's like 3 Baja 1000s connected together to equal that of a Dakar. But in Baja, you have rider changes, because basically for every 1,000 miles there's roughly 4 guys per bike, unless you're Ironmanning it or soloing it. But that's a whole nother story. But when you start thinking about doing thousands of miles of competition off-road, a daily grind, the Dakar is the beat. Now, last year, 2020 Dakar, the total distance was 4,900 miles. 3,100 of those miles were special stages. So that's the super hard off-road, that's the getting after it stuff right there. But this year for 2021, well, let's back up a little bit. I used to have a KTM 950 Adventure, and that's a big bike. I saw that bike being used in the Dakar. It's a 447 pound dirt bike. Then you start adding the amount of fuel that those guys are carrying, like 11 gallons of fuel on the bike. It starts to get in excess of 500 pounds. It's a heavy beast at that point. And it's a lot of bike. And not just the KTM, but any moto in that 900cc range that was competing in the Dakar back then. It separated the boys from the men, and even the best of men, it would get the better of them. So they started to bring the CCs down. They implemented a 450cc max limit, which was actually kind of cool. The big moment for me and really understanding what it takes to ride the 950 is when I participated in the 2007 Barstow to Vegas. And we leave out of Barstow, and the first sand section when we get to, I saw like a whole group of big adventure bikes there at the edge of the sand. Some of them were starting to take off, and it was the telltale sign of, you see these guys are trying to go slow, and you just see the bike fishtailing. Not fishtailing, it was more like, I don't know, looked like a sand serpent going through the sand. I just like, that's not the way this bike is supposed to go through the sand. You know, these big bikes have been racing in Dakar in the sand dunes and getting through there. I've never seen in a Dakar piece of video footage or content of the bikes doing that in the sand. Just in my little bit of desert experience, I knew that that was just, I equate riding motos in the sand much like a boat in the water. Around the dock and the harbor, it's lethargic. It barely gets out of its way. Once the boat gets up on plane, does it become way more maneuverable with throttle input. And that's how I had to attack the 950 to get through the sand, is you just had to get on the throttle and get the bike up on plane. What I immediately noticed is when we got into deeper sand washes, the single cylinder 450s, 500s, they could go like second gear and get through some of these sections. If you wanted to take the bigger bikes through that same section and maneuver through, you had to be in like third gear and have it up on plane, and you had to be going through it quicker. So I was like, okay, it's throttle, and then like, okay, I need to change course, and you drop it, make the correction, and off that way. It was such a massive commitment that I'm like, oh my God, my respect level for the guys that were racing Dakar on those bikes in that era, I was just like, oh my God, those men are men. Like Scott Harding, who commanded the 950 at Dakar, he became the KTM North American rep. I mean, I know he was racing for KTM from America, but he later went on to do a lot within KTM. So he instantly became my hero, and any of those guys that rode those big bikes like that, because once you have a taste of what it takes to command that bike, and there's never a moment where you're commanding the bike, you're just pointing it and guiding it, and you're along for the ride, because those big bikes are beasts. And that's when I knew, like, okay, it's pleasurable, but the commitment level is so high. It's kind of like, whoa, this is kind of crazy. That's when I'm like, okay, I like my small bikes for that type of stuff. And obviously Dakar, in protection of its competitors, they too, over the years, made this move to bring the CCs down. And actually, it was a good move, and it was great for the 450 cc category, because now you see these Dakar bikes that look very, very familiar to our standard bikes. They're just rally equipped. They're equipped with their rally nav tower. I really kind of geek out on that kind of stuff, and it's a very familiar platform. When you look at some of those older Dakar bikes, they're just so big, and they didn't really relate to anything that we had here, you know, outside of a big BMW GS or a KTM 950 Adventure, so forth and so on. I don't know where I'm going with all that, but as a T-dubber, I'm like, I actually kind of like the idea of taking on a big desert on a small bike. Yeah, you know, the big bike can do it, but like, can it be done on a small bike? Well, if you dig hard enough, there's some Vespas that have actually done the Dakar. This is the 43rd edition of the Dakar Rally. Like I said, 1979 was the start of the first, and Yamaha has had 9 titles over the years at Dakar. I'll throw those years out. 1979, like we said, 1980, 91, 92, 93, 95, 96, 97, and 98. Those are the years that Yamaha has stood on the podium in the first place position. So yeah, this beast right here, this is a 1978 Yamaha XT 500. This is very much what those guys rode at that time. And so yeah, to me, this is like just, I don't know, it's super cool. This is actually my brother's motorcycle. It has 12,000 original miles on it. So it's had a very pampered life, and we're getting ready to fire this bad boy up. When you look at this bike and you look at this bike, you can see the similarity, and you can see the lineage. And you know, the fact that this bike has that Dakar history, to me, just makes it even that much more special. This year, the Dakar is 1,900 miles less than last year. It's gonna be 2,900 miles instead of the 4,900 miles. So people are like, whoa, wait, what the heck? What's going on? You're like shortening the event? And the Dakar organizers are, yes, we're shortening the event, but you're gonna thank us in the end, because we're gonna throw the crazy at you. They are attempting to bring down the speeds overall, because bad things happen when you get off a bike at high speed, and even in a car, bad things happen at high speed. And this is supposed to be more of a navigational challenge adventure race. That's what it's always been, is about finding your way through vast and varied landscapes. So they're really going to push up the navigational aspect of the rally this year, which I find like really intriguing. There's going to be a lot of people lost a lot of times. So it's the guys that not only can they ride great, but do they have the navigational skills? So that's what's really going to be cool. And this event for 2021 is not using a mile of the course that they used last year. Pre-run Saudi all you want last year, this is a whole new course. So new navigational challenge, new terrain for everyone in the field. This is going to make for a very, very interesting event, and I'm super excited. I can't wait. This is going to be cool. I'm going to be up late every night on every possible video channel known trying to chase Dakar footage. Another thing that they're going to add to the mix to completely level the playing field is the route, and I mean the map, the route book. Every stage, every course of the rally is in a route book, and that's what you will see on the front of the books. Used to it was a hand roll, but basically it's a rolling paper map. Now it's all thumb and electronically controlled, but they're going to hand out that route book roll chart 20 minutes before these guys take off. So co-driver, hop in the car, open the book and start going through the notes. For the moto guys, they have to load that map into the notebook. Pause. Many of you guys may have never seen a roll chart. You've seen a notebook. You're in school. Unboxing video. So I have a plate, some parts, but more importantly, I have roll chart holder. So basically I'll have to take it all apart, but just imagine a endless roll of paper. They'll take sheets like this, tape them together, and it's just a continuous map, and so you're just scrolling as you go up, and they'll have notes on the side, they'll have course markings. There's a whole rally language for mapping, and they'll give it to you on a roll. You have to put it in here, thread it in, cue it in, and then you can toggle as you're scrolling along. Back up if you missed a section, yada yada yada. You have forward and reverse motion in here to roll that map inside, but it's very explicit detail as to the course. This whole nav tower bit is, I geek out on all that stuff. This will sit up here. Nav tower, roll chart. Basically, they're going to hand out the route to the competitors 20 minutes before they're off. That's pretty wild because usually the guys will go through, they'll color code special sections when triple cautions and those type of things are coming up. So 20 minutes beforehand, that's going to change a lot of how the competitor is going to roll out of the gate. It's going to be a really wild event, and I hope that they talk about that and cover that a lot more this year, because that's going to be a lot of fun to see how these guys are handling navigation. January 3rd is stage 1. They will run all the way to January 8th. January 9th is a rest day, and then January 10th they're back on it all the way to January 15th. And mind you, again, the other side of the earth is a day ahead of us, so whatever date it is on your calendar, the Dakar is a day ahead of us if you're watching this from the northern hemisphere, this side of the earth. I will populate some links down in the description below. There will definitely be a blog post at tdubclub.com, and I will post as many links that are like cool videos and stuff to watch, because that's basically, as a Dakar fan, you gotta hunt it down. You're not just gonna flip it on the ABC Sports and be like, yeah, I don't know, I'll have to look at Netflix and anywhere else on TV and see if there's any Dakar stuff. But all of my Dakar viewing has been done online through YouTube. Fans are uploading that are over there. You'll see a lot of like guys out in the dune, and they're like just shooting the one location that they're at. Some of it's good, some of it's boring. You know, watching the Dakar production, the lead up stuff this year has been absolutely amazing. I'm like kind of speechless over how great the Dakar footage has been from 2 years ago to now. Big leaps, some of the best coverage on the planet. But you got to look at like the Dakar sits up there with F1, WRC, NASCAR, Baja. Like Dakar is, it's a major. It's a major. I will have the Yamaha team guys in there. I will try to find their social medias and put them in there. We'll chase down Monster Energy and see if they're covering any of it, but they're involved in so many sports all over the planet. It's really kind of hard to do on the social side. So yeah, you're gonna spend quite a bit of time right here in YouTube and of course the Tdub Club blog. All right, man, Saudi Arabia, Dakar 2021, roll charts on motos, and my two favorite classes, motos and the big mega trucks. So those are my all-time favorites. Yeah, I'm a Dakar fan. I can't help it.
What about you guys? We ain't found shit.
And also